Hello, welcome to my channel, Conscious Growing. I'm Matthias. And today I want to talk about rumination. And rumination always comes up when we have symptoms, when we feel anxiety in our body, when there is some chemistry going through the system, when there are tensions, when this causes anxiety, then rumination out of habit always pops up. And here I want to shed a little bit of light on this topic and the mechanism behind and what you can do about it. Because first of all, it's quite natural when you experience severe symptoms and anxiety, then the limbic system, the limbic brain, gives the impulse of a danger, of a threat, for whatever reason, and we respond. And when this happens, the nature of the limbic brain is to cause the symptoms and sees the threat, and at the same time it tries to find a solution. In other words, okay, danger, danger, danger. These symptoms are dangerous. This situation is dangerous. This meal is dangerous, whatever it might be. And then invites you to find a solution. And we easily get caught up by trying to find a solution. So, in other words, we respond to this threat the limbic brain sees. And this is always rumination about the symptoms, about the situation. And then it goes further with so-called what-if thoughts. For example, the most common what-if thought is, what if I don't recover? What if this never gets better? And then you're caught up. You get this suggestion from your limbic brain, but the limbic brain doesn't give the solution. So it throws the ball to you, and you're trying to find the solution if you're in this habit. And I want to talk a little bit about the background of this habit, because in my opinion, this background was established in our childhood. In other words, when we came to difficult moments where we weren't able to progress something just with our emotions, because let's say we felt angry and then our parents said, you have to be a good boy, you have to be a good girl, it's not, don't be angry right now. And then you try to solve it with your brain, and then you were thinking about it because you were not allowed to express this very emotion. So it could be anger, it could be shame, sadness, and many more. So what this little child did was trying to figure it out by thinking. And of course, it never came to a solution, as we know. Because what's happening now is that these unexpressed emotions are in our system, in our body. They are stored. And now in our adult life, while we reached a certain threshold in our life, something was too much now. And now this whole thing is like a pressure cooker, and now all the emotions come up in an intense, very intense way. So we want to process them. So how do we process them? Because now you already get my idea, I guess, because as childs we try to progress it with our thinking mind, and that never brought the solution. That's why these emotions were stored. So now it's the opportunity to feel these emotions, these old emotions, because they come up anyway. So there's no other way to let them pass, let them happen, allow them to happen. So how do we do that? Certainly not by thinking, certainly not by trying to figure it all out or trying to find a momentary cognitive solution, because that might work for a moment, but the underlying issue are these suppressed emotions, and they want to be expressed. So that's why these principles of Claire Weeks, to work on physical symptoms, to work on sensitization, to work on anxiety, which is all the same for me, is to allow these states, as frightened as they might be, because this is just, let's say, this is just suppressed, uncontrolled energy, or in better words, the energy that was controlled for decades, and it just wants to lift. And this usually doesn't happen with one decision. So it doesn't mean you say, okay, I allow my emotions now, and then it's just a process that goes on its own. It needs you to have the right mindset and make the right decision. So in other words, whenever you feel that you want to ruminate on your sensations and the state you're in, and making any conclusions about your future, then it's the right moment to stop for a moment and just allow to feel the raw sensation, whatever that might be. So there might be the physical sensation in the foreground. So then you're just observing this physical sensation and let it play out. But under these symptoms, pains, whatever it might be, anxiety, the underlying issue is or are these suppressed emotions. And so what we want to do is we want to break this cycle. And we can break the cycle when we are able to just allow them to be there, allow the physical sensations to be there, allow the thoughts that might come to be there, allowing the emotions that might come up. And you don't need to label them even, because if you start to label your emotions while in this process, you're already up in your head again, and then you're trying to label, and this is already rumination in some kind of way. So in other words, it's even more pure. It means like I let it happen. I allow it to happen, and I give the permission. When you're in a good shape or you have a good day, you might even go one step further and would say, I even invite the symptoms to come. Because when symptoms are there, it's always an opportunity to progress them. Because now it's the moment where you and your mindset and even more your reactions, they are leading the ship, so to speak. So when this comes up, and if you're able to accept the momentary thoughts your scared brain produces, this happens anyway. You have no chance to influence it directly. But what you can influence is your immediate reaction. And if your immediate reaction is no reaction, then the symptoms, the adrenaline, the cortisol, the stress chemicals in the body, they come up, they do crazy things in the body. 2 weeks ago you were crazy about it and you tried to find a solution. You Googled more, you watched more YouTube videos, you tried to distract yourself with all kind of stuff. But now you make a new decision, and the new decision is to let it happen. And to see, and this is very important as I see it, is to see that this is not a threat. And what's happening is a relief and not this big monster as it seems to be. But we made a big monster out of it through rumination. This energy came and we tried to get rid of it, and trying to get rid of it caused more tension. More tension causes more stress chemicals. So you're in the cycle. So the mind, at least the scared mind and the worried mind, always fails. And it never can find the solution. We can't find the solution there. The solution just lies in allowing it, going through it, and even see it as a healthy process. It's just adrenaline. So if it comes up in the very moment when this so-called, as Claire Wicks called it, the first fear comes up, the alarm in the system, when this comes up in form of symptoms, in form of anxiety, in form of fearful thoughts and so on, in this very moment when you can welcome it, and if you don't want to find a solution, and if you loosen your body as good as you can, drop your body. When you're sitting, you allowing, like some people in the TMS world, they use this image of a wet noodle. So you are this wet noodle, and you just let it happen. You just let it happen. You just observe what's happening, but you're not involved. And if you've watched some of my videos, you know already that this is a way to release these old emotions again and again. And once you started this path, you will still have ups and downs. And these fears and these energies, they will come unexpected. And what you're also learning, they don't have so much to do with a specific situation. They can come in any situation. It might happen when you sit on the sofa or when you are out somewhere. But the main thing is to identify your own thoughts when they want to come into play in this very moment when the so-called alarm starts. And when you are able not to respond like you have done in the past, then, as you can already grasp, the subconscious is kind of irritated because it thinks, what is he or she doing now? Usually she or he responded with fearful thoughts, even behaviors. And now this person is just not reacting and is not following my offers, it's not following my thoughts. And this is new. So when this happens, the subconscious will start to test you. So it might bring new symptoms. It might bring more intense symptoms. And and this is expected, and this is very important, when this happens, that you're not getting off course. Means it needs practice each and every day, because it will try to catch you. But anyway, don't see it as an enemy of yours. Again, we have to understand that this part is just operating on misinformation. It wants to protect us, as crazy as it might feel at times. When symptoms feel crazy and severe, we might think this is an attack, this feels like an attack, but it isn't. It is just this brain that wants to protect you, but it wants you to respond in new ways. And the main response is not to get caught up in rumination. And this is practice. It won't work from one day to the other. It will need some consistency and time. But the more you are able to say, okay, symptoms, you are here, emotions, you are here, sensations, you are here, but on the other hand, I don't care. I, I, I don't have anything to add to this. You can do whatever you want, act yourself out, but I will not do anything further to support this by emotions, by thoughts. And that will feel kind of strange in the beginning, unnatural, because we are so used to respond immediately, especially when we're highly sensitized. But the desensitization happens through these new responses. Because easy said, it's just we stay calm. But sometimes the mind, when the mind is very excited, the mind tries desperately to calm itself down. But it's this desperate energy that tries to calm down, and that just produces the opposite. So therefore it's very important to just do it the other way around and observe your thoughts. And don't see it playful, don't see it too strict and too rigid. Just to see, like, the cloud comes and you let the cloud pass by and you are not engaging in these clouds. And the more you practice this, the more this very first reaction will get bored, and because it doesn't get any attention. And when it doesn't get attention, it goes on its own. But this is what the job we have to do. Straight. Yeah, it's like someone is shouting at you, wants your attention. A child wants your attention. So you don't buy into it, but you allow this other stuff to happen. And this is the process in it. Because then these stress chemicals, they can relieve. It can feel very unpleasant at times. It can feel very real at times. But the more you get used to it and not responding and seeing your own thoughts not so important, but on the other hand, you let them be there, you will calm down. And there are no techniques needed. You don't need any techniques. When this is allowed to act itself out, the system comes down, peace comes back. We just process, we just don't want to stand in the way. We just don't want to fix. We just allow these energies to go through us again and again, as long as it needs. Claire Weeks said in the first principle, let time pass. So if you are really committed to let time pass, you don't put extra stress on your process. So you say, this takes as long as it takes. You don't decide when your nervous system calms down. It's not happening by willpower or anything like that. This is a very subtle process. And if you are learning to stand less in the way, it will solve itself. All right, I think this is enough for today, and I hope you can get something out of it. And as always, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done yet. Send it to someone who might be interested in these kind of informations, and leave a thumbs up or a comment. And anytime, I'm always pleased to interact. And also, if you want more help, you can write me an email. You see my webpage and in the description, and I offer one-to-one coachings. And if you like, we can have a free first video chat, and then see where this journey might go and where you're standing, if it makes some sense to work together. I would love that. And so feel free to contact me. So see you next time. Bye.